It's probably worse than you think it is, Nick.
Starmer's never said a promise that he hasn't yet broken.
That she lied not just about the job she had with the Bank of England, but how long she was there.
I'm sure Starmer and his team would be trying to stop Burnham becoming an MP because he's a massive threat.
And they want to destroy farms because they don't think we in this country should have farms.
Hi everybody, and welcome back to Nick Talks. This episode's returning guest is David from the Silver Fox Hot Takes. If you're not following David, go in the description of the video, click the link and go subscribe to his channel now. It's excellent. You won't be disappointed. Anyway, Foxy, how you doing?
I'm very, very well. Thanks very much. Struggling on like the rest of us. But just it's a never-ending stream at the moment, isn't it? It's joyous for YouTubers. There's so much going on.
But not much of it is good news, unfortunately, unless you're an American.
Yeah, no good news, no. But keeps us busy though, doesn't it? Keeps us on our toes.
It does. It does. You know more about economics than me. What's going on with the economy, Rachel Reeves, and the UK at the moment? Is it as bad as I think it is?
It's probably worse than you think it is, Nick. We know growth is down in the toilet. And I think we're going to go into not only a recession, I think it may well end up a depression. It's horrible. On top of that, come another couple of months, you've got the huge uplift in national insurance charges for employers. So they're going to either cut numbers or go out of business. You know, there's certainly zero hirings. I did a video the other day showing how job vacancies are at their lowest level since 2019, 6 years ago. And that was in the middle of the bloody pandemic. You know, it's really bad. And of course, with that, on top of all of that, you have the position of the new employment rights bill that's going to come in. And employers up and down the country are literally shitting themselves, to put it bluntly. You know, full rights from day one. So it means somebody can turn up day one and then go on 6 months sick leave and the company has to pay them. It's crazy.
I might be getting a job in April then.
Yeah, go and get a job, one job, do one day and then off. 6 months money. Thank you very much. And so what's going to happen is young people especially are going to suffer because they're not going to be offered the jobs. They've got no work history, for example. If you're in your 30s, married, couple of kids, good track record in a job, you're laughing, you're golden. You are the employees they want. But some, 18-year-olds, fresh face, out of school, out of college, no work record, they're not going to take you on because they don't know what they're getting. It's crazy.
And it's not worth the risk, is it? It's not worth, I mean, I've worked with lots of young people and employers. And then, I've got employers to basically say to themselves, like, we'll take a risk on this young person because you and your charity, Nick, has put him forward. We'll take a chance on him. But if the risk is too high for the employer, which it sounds like it's going to be, why would they take the risk? And young people will lose these opportunities.
That's it. And once they don't have that work history from a young age, they're never going to have that work history and they're never going to get those jobs. It's a lifetime destroyed. This is sheer lunacy. But of course, it's exacerbated by having Rachel Reeves in her position. This is a woman who lied on her CV twice. In fact, it's looking now, as we're having this, it will have just come out recently, that she lied not just about the job she had with the Bank of England, but how long she was there. The BBC are doing an investigation into her. They've found this picture of her with all her colleagues in the complaints department at HBOS, and it was dated at a time that she said she was working as an economist for the Bank of England. There's nothing come out of this woman's mouth that's true. It's all lies. And it's quite clear, we're seeing, it's quite clear she hasn't got a grip on the economy because she doesn't understand economics, monetary supply. She doesn't understand how tax works, but Labour never have understood how tax works. And she thinks that she's some kind of god, supreme being. She says something, and lo, it happens. I can't remember seeing her apotheosis and raising to the pantheon of the gods, but there we go. In her mind. But of course, in reality, not so much. You know as well as I do, when economics meets politics, economics always wins. And it's crashing and it's burning around her. And she's going out, she went out to the heads of all the watchdogs, didn't she? Please give me ideas on how to grow the economy. They don't know. She had the meeting the other day with the banks. Please help us. And the banks are going, no, you got yourself into this. You're screwing our trade. No, you sort it out. She's literally tearing her hair out. And there's reports in and around Westminster that she's depressed and sits in the office all day, completely at a loss, and is close to crying half the time. If it's too much, love, give it up. Go and find something more in line with your talents. I'm sure somewhere there's a kettle boiling. You can make tea for someone, you know?
Is there anything she can do to improve the situation? Are those things the U-turns?
Resign.
Resign? Is there things she can do that she knows she can do, but she won't do out of principle?
Yeah, she's basically got to reverse every decision she's made because every single decision she's made has been harmful. Raising employers' taxes, employment tax, is going to cost jobs. Reverse it. It's simple. It hasn't been implemented yet. Reverse it. Won't make any difference. It'll keep people working. Um, you can't reverse the pay rises that you've offered. Sure, the madcap pay rises, but you reverse the farming tax straight away. I mean, that has got to happen because they're not. I think the farming tax is a separate issue, and I'd love to do a video on the farming tax with you. But the farming tax is not a cash raising tax. You do know that. It's not designed to raise tax.
It is a punishment beating tax. It's a bit like it's like that on private schools. It's you people never should have this land. You should never send your children to private schools. So therefore, we're punishing you on behalf of the proletariat. That's what those two things are about.
That's what these are. Yeah, yeah. And they want to destroy farms because they don't think we in this country should have farms. Because if we have farms, we can feed ourselves. Whereas if all food has to be imported, they can control the ports and starve us into submission.
Can you see any U-turns?
She can't. She can't possibly U-turn. I mean, yes, of course she could, but she's not going to because that would be an admission that she got it so badly wrong. And you know what these people are like? They're so filled with their own hubris, they can never admit mistakes. But you know that the people who voted Labour, half the people who voted Labour now regret it. I mean, buyer's remorse. Unfortunately, we are stuck with this people, you know.
Can you see Starmer intervening and sacking her?
Yes. Yes, I can. Yeah, I do see it. And I say, but not because she's useless, but because he wants to save his own bacon. He will throw her under the bus to protect Starmer. Starmer, in his mind, is the only person who's important. He will fire her and put all the blame on her. So, well, the economy hasn't done as well as expected, but I was lied to. Blah blah blah. She told me she was an economist. Blah blah blah. And that'll be the excuse. And she will fire. She will be fired by him. And I think it's soon. They're talking about next month and a little mini reshuffle. It looks like it's going to be bigger. The only trouble is, and the rumor, and it's a bad rumor, is that we're going to get Yvette Cooper as Chancellor. Yvette Cooper has got fewer qualifications in economics than Rachel Reeves. I mean, how bad is it going to be? They're moving. Oh, who's going to take over? I can see the old boy. See his face, can't think of his name. It's going to be the Home Secretary. I don't know if Lammy will move. Starmer said Lammy will be the Foreign Secretary forever. But really, I mean, he's an oaf, isn't he? He goes around the world insulting people. He's like Prince Philip, isn't he? But without the charm.
But don't forget Starmer. Starmer's never said a promise that he hasn't yet broken.
No, he's broken everything, yeah.
So saying Lamb is going to be with us for 5 years is not really a promise.
No, of course it's not, and you can't. But I'm looking forward to the reshuffle. The irony for Starmer, which is what I love about the whole setup, is that he can do anything to anyone except Angela Rayner, because she was put in by the NEC, the Politburo. He's got no control over that, and those two absolutely loathe each other. He keeps trying to throw her under the bus. He gives her all the shitty jobs. He took Dorneywood off her. He had to give it back, but he took Dorneywood off her. He didn't let her go onto the Security Council, all sorts of things. It's really clear that they absolutely hate each other. And she was on, was it Kunzberg last week, wasn't she? And saying, he couldn't run a bath.
Yeah, there's no love lost there. In general, how's Starmer doing compared to last month? Has he plateaued with his incompetence now? Is he still getting worse? Is he doing slightly better?
No, I think he has plateaued, but only at a very low level, isn't he? I mean, he's down. He's not. There's no up. There's no upside of him. I can't see him getting worse because literally there is nowhere for him to go. He is lower than a snake's belly. You've got to say he's got survivor power, hasn't he? How is he still in place? But
Is in place because you look around him and you think who could take over? Who's got the intelligence, the backbone to overthrow him and step into his shoes? And at the moment, there isn't anybody in Parliament on the Labour side who you think could do that.
no, no. Um, there are people with aspirations. There's ambition because there always is. There's always it's in their very soul, isn't it, to climb that greasy pole. And you look at Wes Streeting; he's determined to become the leader of the Labour Party, but he's like an embryo. He's far too young. He's too inexperienced. He's never had a job. He's never done anything. None of them have, of course, but he's never done anything. And he sits there like a big, fat-faced embryo, in Parliament, answering the questions, trying to be something that he's not. He can't lead our nation. People look at him and they just think, "Nah, mate, you're not there, are you? You're not. You haven't got it." Um, I think the only person who's got any shot of leading the Labour Party with any kind of conviction, with any kind of authority, isn't even an MP. He's your mate.
Yep, Andy Burnham.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what everyone's saying, and we'll probably find out next couple of months if Andy Burnham's going to jump ship and get to Parliament. There's a couple of by-elections coming up now in the northwest. He could take one of them. I'm sure Starmer and his team would be trying to stop Burnham becoming an MP because he's a massive threat. But we don't know what's going to happen there.
Yeah. You mentioned something before that Burnham's got a mate that he might take the seat from.
That's North Manchester MP Graham Stringer. So the rumours have been for 2 years now. The rumours are Graham Stringer is desperate to retire and is only hanging on to do Andy Burnham a favour when he wants to go back to being an MP. And that rumour's been solid now for 2 years.
Yeah.
So me and you are not accused of being biased. So next time me and you are in a police interview cell with a light shining in our face, answering questions about why we don't like Labour and the Prime Minister, we can show them this video to show we're not biased. What do you think of Kemi Badenoch and how's she doing as the opposition leader?
Well, oh, it's hard, isn't it? She started so well. I mean, in the run up and in the election for leader, I was actually thinking, oh, Kemi would do it. She's always been strong at the ballot box. And I think that's been fairly consistent for some time. She's always been able to get up, stand at the ballot box, address an issue, belittle the person she's speaking to by facts and saying the facts and things. She's always been able to think quickly. I've always said she'd be a good leader of the opposition. I don't think she's prime ministerial, and she started well. But I think the office of leader of the opposition is getting to her. She's just getting weaker now. I think there's too much stress on her, or too much of her time is taken up with administrative matters of leading the party. Not enough time in preparing for her time at the ballot box. And I don't know if you saw last week's PMQs. It was probably the worst one I've seen her perform. Actually, there are 8 questions or whatever it is, and none of them hit home. Now, given the position that Labour are in, given the things they're doing, the things they're saying, you've got this whole WhatsApp scandal going on, 2 MPs suspended, all the councillors suspended, and so forth. She should have been sticking her finger in an open wound and reeling it around and really causing them pain. And she just held back and was talking about other things here that I don't think she's got the killer instinct anymore. And I think people are seeing this. I think there's a lot of people in the Tory party that are starting to see that she's got weak areas that can be exploited. Now, of course, who's the one who's going to benefit from this? It's going to be Generic, isn't it? The new leader of the right, as it were. He was never a wet, but he was always a bit damp, wasn't he? But now all of a sudden he's taken his shirt off, the muscle-bound torso action man riding a bear into action. and he's the new man of the right and all this. And he's setting himself up to become the new leader. And I think he will challenge. And I think he'll challenge probably May after the locals.
Yeah, possibly. I've got a different scenario here. Kemi Badenoch is obviously not a stupid woman. You know, I believe she's a very intelligent woman. I think what she's doing is she's fighting to keep her position. Her party, her MPs, most of them are wets, most of them are basically Lib Dems. She daren't she daren't go on to the right of the Conservative field because then she's dragging the conversation that will suit Genevieve even more and suit Reform even more. I think she knows that if she wants to keep her seat and keep her seat until next general election, she has to play to her MPs, and most of them are wet Lib Dems. And I think she could be better, but I think she's just, again, it's that greasy pole. She wants to remain in power as the leader of the Tory party, and that's her main focus at the moment. It's not attacking Labour, it's not doing anything else, it's keeping her seat.
Yeah, but she's going to have to start doing something. You know, I see what you're saying. I can agree. I agree with what you're saying.
I think she's playing the long game. I think she's decided there's not going to be a general election for a good few years. Labour are just going to slowly kill themselves. There's no point us helping them because, or help to kill them because we'll get infected. They're just destroying themselves. So leave them alone, let them destroy themselves. Reform are our enemy.
Nick, you can't keep missing an open goal.
True, true. But I think this is her strategy. I think she's saying leave Labour alone and we need to wait a few years. And I think she's hoping reform are a flash in the pan. I think she's hoping that over the next year or two, the desire for reform will diminish and then the Tories will own the right again. And I think that's her game plan.
Yeah, she might not be there in a couple of years though.
She might not be. She might not be. But the Tories at the moment are unelectable. She's been, no, she has been a shambles. I never would have voted for her and I wouldn't vote for her. Generic said all the right stuff. I'm not sure if I ever trusted the man. And I've said from day one, Kemi is a interim leader of the Tory party. You don't have such a defeat and then keep your next leader. The next leader tries to keep the party together as they're sorting out who they are, what they want. So once they've sorted out who they are, what they want, a fresh face leader will come along who hasn't been contaminated by 14 years of Tory government incompetence, who hasn't got that stench on them, and they will become the new leader. Kemi to me has got the stench of 14 years of failure on her.
Yeah, she was new, but she was just too old. She had too many miles on the old Tory clock. Someone coming into the Tory party now will be clean. You know, their hands would be clean. Yeah.
Before we go, anything else that we should know about that's up and coming or jumping in the news?
Well, there's so much. It's so fast, isn't it? I think we should keep our powder dry and do it. See what comes up for the next chat. But it's there are there. But I mean, I'm going to just round on something I've just thought of. I don't think I've ever been in a position where you've got the two major parties both doing so badly, both really with leaders that are likely to change in the short term at the same time, and where nobody feels that there's a sense of direction anywhere in this country. I mean, that was the thing with Thatcher. You may have not agreed with her policies, but at least you felt she had a direction. She knew what she was doing, and you were confident she knew what she was doing. You might not have liked it, but you accepted it. Tell me today, what does Labour stand for? What do the Tories stand for? I couldn't. If my life depended on it, I couldn't get a sheet of A4 paper and write three things down about each party.
Yeah, I think even though I disagreed with Tony Blair on many things, he had a vision. You know, he told us what he was doing and where he was taking us, and he took the country along with him. But then since him, I have no idea what David Cameron was about. I have no idea what Theresa May. Theresa May put in place many of the decisions that are destroying the country. Same with all the other Tory leaders. Boris Johnson sold us a vision, but was a liar. And same with Keir Starmer. I have no idea since Blair what any of our prime ministers of any of our parties actually want to do.
Incompetents and psychopaths, aren't they? One and all.
That one might get you into trouble calling politicians psychopaths off.
Oh no, no, that's acceptable. That's acceptable, Nick. Don't call them incompetent.
Ah, yes. David, thank you very much for the chat. Let's catch up again next week or two, and you take care.
Okay, so long as I'm not actually in prison, that'll be great.
Yes. And if you are, we'll try to get a cell for two.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Nick. Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye now. Bye, everybody.